Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hope is Not a Tactic, the School Safety and Security Show. This is going to be episode number 2 of De-Escalation Techniques. So, in my opening episode, if you haven't seen it, if you're just popping around the channel and you see this one, go back and watch episode 1 because it gives you the basis for understanding what a crisis is and how we deal with people in crisis. And we're working our way towards some specific techniques that you need to understand. All right, so right off the bat, I want to thank riottint.com, our sponsor, blue360media.com, our sponsor. We have a new sponsor, Dubby, DUBBY.GG. This is energy drinks. This stuff is amazing. I tasted it and I went out and bought it, and they decided to sponsor the show because they want you to get this information. So Dubby.GG. And medicalessentialdiagnostics.com. They provide health screenings for any kind of a state, county, local, municipal worker, first responders in the state of New Jersey. Medicalessentialdiagnostics.com. So all of our sponsors here are all kind of, the theme is that they're here for you and for me and for all of us. So go take a look at them. Riot Tint makes the most amazing window safety film that there is. I've seen lots of different products. Awesome company. Go talk to Dan. He's amazing too. You'll like it. All right, so we're going to get into the second part of what we talked about. So just as a recap, we talked about in the first episode, de-escalation, about what is a crisis, a definition. It's a time of change, a time of trouble. It's a time of possible trouble, like if a kid got in trouble or they're trying to figure out who they are, or a conflict is going on in their life, or they have some other problem, right? So if these things build up over time, they don't just happen. A crisis can be acute, okay? Somebody's brother, sister, best friend, boyfriend gets killed in a car accident. That can be a horrifying thing that happens to somebody, and it can set them right off into a crisis, especially if they have underlying problems other than that, mental health problems, addiction problems, emotional problems, things like that. But normally these things build up over time. It's a problem that goes on and on and on. And then there's a trigger event. That's whatever set the person off. Now you have them acting up, getting loud, maybe potentially dangerous or whatever. So that's kind of taken us to where we are. We talked about the red balloon. A person is like a red balloon. Visualize that. As they get more agitated and upset, the balloon big expands. And then if it pops, that's when there's usually violence. So our job, if we choose to get involved with someone who's in crisis, which we talked about, that's a big decision to decide. You could put yourself in danger. Maybe you want to just get out of there, right? If you got your family, you got the kids there, and you can get them out of there, that's maybe the better idea. You got to decide. I did this program because you might find yourself in a position to have to deal with this person, and I want you to know how to do some things, right? Okay. So we find out that most people who go into crisis, and we find out later on, one of the things they say is nobody's listening to me, right? So we want to understand, by listening, active listening to what people are saying, we get clues to what's got them upset, and then we can help them to vent. And we let people vent by letting them talk. Right? We don't use action imperatives. We don't cut them off. Stop it, knock it off, be calm down. We let them talk. We ask probing questions in a nice way. Boy, you seem really upset. Boy, is there anything I can do to help you? As opposed to ordering people to knock it off, because we know that don't work. All right. So that brings us to where we are now. So when we think about a situation, where I've seen situations when I was a director of school safety and security, I had no idea how many times people go off in the schools. I mean, kids who have problems, and they have a trigger event, and they go off. Parents who are unreasonable sometimes. Staff members who are having problems at home or problems at work. They got themselves in trouble, whatever, in life or at work, and they can go off. It does happen. Then we have outside people who can wander into the building. Now, don't confuse someone in crisis with an active shooter. While an active shooter might be in crisis, you're not going to be able to talk to them, right? You have to take a totally different reaction to them because they're there to hurt people immediately. They're not prone to talking, right? So, but anybody less than that, building towards violence, you may have an opportunity to de-escalate them so that you can calm them down. The whole idea is that in a crisis, there's a process of a crisis. So the process starts out, think of the balloon, right? Now the person's agitated, they're having a problem. Now they come to school. Somebody says something or does something related to the problem or not, but that's the trigger event. And now they start to get agitated and upset, and that balloon starts to grow. And people are telling them to calm down, knock it off. Maybe they're having a problem with some of the kids in the class, and those kids are egging them on, and they're getting more and more upset. And we see this start to build. Well, if we de-escalate someone properly by asking the right questions, using the techniques I'm going to give you in a minute, by listening properly, letting them know you're hearing them, and trying to help them bring that balloon down at some point in almost every crisis. If you do this properly, or someone else does it, as law enforcement, I was called in 2-3 hours after something started, and I had to fix that first and then de-escalate them. But as we de-escalate people and they come down, they get back to the point of rational thought. When they're in crisis, they're not thinking rationally. They're thinking very self-centered, and it's not rational. So that's why telling people what to do doesn't work. You have to ask questions and do other things. But once they get down to a certain point where they're no longer actively in crisis, now their concerns change. Their concerns change from whatever it was that they were upset about to their consequences. I can't believe I did this. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get thrown out of school. I'm going to get suspended. I'm going to go to jail. The police are going to come, whatever it is. When they get to that point, that is where, if you have created a little bit of a bond with this person, and that's part of this process, is to create that bond, is that if you've created this little bit of a bond with the person, you can now help them through that part of the crisis where they're now concerned about the consequences for their behavior. And what we like to tell people there is, okay, I heard you. You're obviously, we're so upset about this. This is serious. This is a big deal. I'm going to help you get the help you need to deal with this situation, right? That's what we do. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you get help for your problem. And hey, you didn't hurt anybody. You screamed and hollered. We can deal with that, but you're upset, and everybody can understand that. So you're doing the right thing. How can I help you? Right? And then you can get them help. So that's the process. There's a buildup, there's a high point, and then if you de-escalate properly, it comes down. It changes from the problem to concerns about consequences, and you can help them stop. Okay, let's get you the help. Let's go to the hospital. Let's see a doctor. Let's talk to the counselor. Let's get mom and dad in here, whatever it is. At that point, you can guide them in the consequence phase, right? So we get that. So the whole idea here is you have, I couldn't believe how many parents would come into like the transportation department and lose their minds about the kids' bus stop, screaming and hollering, reaching over the counter at the people working behind the counter, throwing things at them, cursing at them, kids flipping desks over, teachers having problems. I never would have imagined that went on until I became a director of school safety and security, and I was there every day, and I saw these kind of things, and that's where I saw the need for this training. So this training can be for everyone. So I've done this in different ways. I do it at the beginning of the year when you're having your in-service. I do it during teacher-faculty meetings. It takes about 2 hours to do the program. We can do it online. I can do it remotely. I can do it in person. And I'm writing up a book about it soon, right? Blue 360 Media is going to publish it, so we'll have it out there. All right, so what are the ways and the things we need to concern ourselves with in dealing with somebody in crisis? So we already said the balloon is expanding. We need to listen, actively listen. That means don't cut them off when they're talking. But your job is to listen to key things. Keep in mind, they're not thinking rationally. So you can't talk to them as though what you just want them to do, because they're not rational. You have to understand they're filled with emotion and they want to be heard. So you want to make sure you let them know you're hearing them. Paraphrase what they're saying once in a while. So what you're saying is that you and Mary got to be really good friends and close, and you really liked her. Next thing you know, she likes your friend Bob, and that's embarrassing. Is that what I hear you saying? Yes. Okay. So you get it, right? So you paraphrase, you want them to know you hear them, because that helps to vent someone who's having a problem. Next, you got to understand what empathy. Now, you're school personnel, so I assume you know all these things, but you know what? I teach this to all kinds of groups, and we often we conflate the word empathy with sympathy, right? So empathy means you can understand how someone's feeling. Boy, I imagine that must be very sad that this happened to you. I imagine you must be very angry that you're involved with this, right? We understand the feeling, not that we necessarily have the feeling, because you'll lose credibility if you say something like, yeah, I know how that is. Oh, really? When did they pass you over for promotion when you deserved it? Well, they never did. There goes your credibility. So that's why we say things like, boy, I imagine it must be very frustrating to be passed over for promotion you deserved. I imagine you must be very angry that that happened to you, right? That's being empathetic, understanding what someone's going through, not that you're feeling it. Sympathy means you're very sorry that they had to deal with this. Boy, I'm sorry you lost your best friend. I'm sorry your dad was killed in a car accident, right? You're emotionally connected to that person and you're sorry they're going through some kind of a tough time. So sympathy and empathy, very, very important. Active listening, listening to what they're saying, letting people talk. Then we come down to, and here's the big techniques. These are the ones you want to pay attention to. So we're using these empathy while we're listening to what they're doing. We're listening for cues. One of the ways that we can help de-escalate someone, like I said in episode 1, as human beings, when we're feeling an emotion, happy, sad, mad, angry, joy, whatever it is, when we're feeling this emotion and somebody else says that to us, the name of the emotion says the emotion. Boy, you seem very happy today. You're not kidding. I'm happy. I won the Super Bowl pool and I got $300, right? As human beings, when we hear the emotion we're feeling, we often respond to it. So the whole idea, again, to de-escalate someone is to get them to know we're listening and to let them vent. So what we use is what's called a technique called emotional labeling and the echo technique, right? Emotional labeling and the echo technique. So emotional labeling means just what it sounds like. When you're listening, not cutting someone off, you're letting them talk, letting them vent their anger, their frustration, their sadness, their happiness, whatever it is. And you say, boy, you sound really angry. If they are feeling angry, you will often see them respond to that. You're not kidding, I'm angry. I've been at this job for 7 years, and this guy comes along and he gets the promotion. Boy, excuse me, boy, you sound really sad. I am sad. I can't believe this happened to me. I didn't mean for getting into this kind of trouble. Next thing I know, I might lose my job. So you get the idea, right? You emotional label. If you hear an emotion, you say it. Now, people will tell you if you got the wrong one. Boy, you sound really angry. I'm not angry. Joe, I'm not angry. I'm frustrated. I am so frustrated with this. I tried so hard to become the director of psychological events in the school, and they gave it to somebody else, right? So they will tell you. And then you can respond, boy, that must be frustrating. It is frustrating. See how it works, right? So we have to listen, not over talk. Let them talk because that's venting. And every once in a while, you will paraphrase. You will use empathy. Boy, I imagine that must be really annoying and frustrating that you tried so hard. You dedicated yourself to get your degree so you could get, and then you didn't get it. I imagine that is very frustrating. It is frustrating, right? But as you're doing that, emotional labeling, using the echo technique, using empathy, active listening, as you're doing that in paraphrasing, what you're doing is you're letting that person talk. They're being heard. They know you hear them, right? And they're getting it out. They're saying it, and the balloon goes down. That is the art of de-escalation. We want people to vent themselves of whatever it is that's got them upset, bring them back down to a normal, rational point of view. And then we know it often changes to, okay, what do I do now? Okay, I'm going to help you through this, right? Sure, you locked yourself in the room with all of us and you screamed and hopped, but you didn't hurt anybody. You know what? I understand your problem. We can get you help. I will help you get help, right? So this is really the key to de-escalation. If you found yourself on a train, you're there with your family, going to see they're going to see the Thanksgiving Day parade, and somebody's in there going off, and they corner you, and they start going off. You may have no choice but to deal with them. Boy, man, you seem really agitated. Agitated. I am agitated, Bubba. Can you believe this city, this, that? Boy, that sounds very frustrating, right? You use the same techniques if you have to. And again, remember that caveat. Sometimes the best thing to do is go, let's go, everybody into the next train car or off the train or whatever. Dealing with someone in crisis is very, very serious. but we all can find ourselves in that position. And having these skills, this understanding of what a crisis is and how to deal with somebody in crisis can help keep you safe, keep the kids safe, keep everybody safe, so we can control it before it erupts into violence. That is the key. All right. So you ought to reach out to me, joe@pangarotraining.com, joe@pangarotraining.com. We do this training in person. We do this training remotely. We do it at all different times. And I have a book coming out soon that's going to cover these techniques. So reach out if you have any questions. I never mind a question or a weird situation you got going on that involves this. If I can help you, I will do what I can to help you. All right. So I want to thank you for being here. Make sure, you like and subscribe to the channel, and then tell all your friends to like and subscribe. And we're going to bring out all kinds of things for safety and security. Go look at the other episodes already. We have a ton of stuff in here. I'm doing drills and just all kinds of important safety and security things for your schools. This is Lieutenant Joe saying, hey, be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. We will see you down the road.